Hi friends, just wanted to showcase you DOM sample of JavaScript. DOM stands for Document Object Model. So using that, you can write JavaScript to dynamically change your website. For example, I've just created a dice example. When you hit roll, it will give you various numbers. And I have also recorded some audio to spell out those numbers. So when I hit roll,
6, 1, 3, 5.
okay, so this is the sample, and we will see how to develop it step by step. Hi friends, so we can start building the application we showed you step by step. So we start off with three files: index.html, dice.js, and styles.css. You can see that dice.js, which is the JavaScript file which will have all the functionality, is right now empty. Style.css has some CSS, the protest right regular. I've seen it before. This is the font family protest right, which is coming from Google Fonts. For body, we have just said text align center and background color. We have chosen a color of interest, and for title, we have chosen some font size, color, and text shadow, etc. For the button, we have declared a font size, margin, font family, padding, etc. And for the dice image itself, we have set width, height, 300 pixel of width and height, and we have provided some margin. And we have had a class called justify center, which says justify content to center. So this is the styles.css. Dice.js is empty. So if you look at index.html, it is just the HTML outline with the bootstrap imported. You must have seen how we did this in previous videos, and also for Google Fonts imported. You must have seen how we did this before, and it's also referring to our style sheet. And dice.js, which is JavaScript, is referred to by this statement: script source is equal to dice.js charset UTF-8 script. All right, this statement refers refers to the JavaScript which we will be developing in that file, and that file is getting included inside the HTML using the script tag. So we can start building the HTML now. So friends, we have just added a h1 with class title class, and the font being protest right regular, and we have said roll the dice, and there is a UTF-8 character of dice which we have copied, and that becomes our header. And we have a footer which says which you have seen before. This is the bootstrap footer, and we have used the same footer without the text information just below the title to create a horizontal line. That's all we have done here. Okay, just a header one with appropriate classes, a footer here, and the footer without the text just below the h1. So if we save this and go to our website and refresh it, you can see we get roll the dice with the dice symbol, and we have just two lines, and below this line is the footer information. Okay, so what we will do is we'll put a button, a bootstrap button below between these images. Below that we'll put an image source for the dice image, and below that we'll put a text again a header to show what is the number that appears on the dice. Okay, basically a cricket-based metaphor where if you get 4, it's 4. Say if you get 6, it's a 6, and so on and so forth. So let's start doing that. So friends, we have added the button, a type button, class button primary, role button dot class, which you have seen. We are just giving it a font size and a margin and a font family. And if you remember button primary, they are all from our bootstrap classes, ready-made ones. It has ID button1, and it has a role as its text. And again, bootstrap class container, if you remember, and we have bootstrap class row here, bootstrap 2 rows. One row has the image for the dice. So I just went on web and downloaded some free images which showcase the dice. And another row has also an h1 which shows how many runs based on the roll of the dice. So this is the information which has been copy pasted. If I save this, and if I go back here, and if I refresh it, you have the roll button. Of course, when I click it, nothing happens right now. We will enable the functionality shortly. And right now the image is also the image with the 1 on the dice, and you're saying 1 runs, so that is what is happening here. Of course, the functionality has to be added, which we will add using the JavaScript. So here we are saying we are having an array G audio files which has sound. If you look at the sounds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 .mp3s. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 each for the number on the dice. So this I just recorded using the audio recorder on my mobile, and I saved it as a .dat file, and I converted it online to mp3. Okay, so you can create this yourself as well. And we have var G audio objects. So here we are using an empty array, and we are using a for loop for let I equal to 0, I less than G audio files dot length I plus plus. We are pushing it into this array, and we are you must be new to this new keyword. The new keyword is saying from the audio class you create a new object. Okay, and the input to this creator is the name of the audio file. Okay, for example, the first object will get G audio files of I equal to 0, so which is sounds 1.mp3. Then when I is equal to 1, it will get 2.mp3, and so on and so forth. So we are creating an object here of type audio class. Again, we will get deeper into classes, objects, properties, and the functions on functions of the class on the which can be called via objects. All this object-oriented programming using JavaScript will get into detail of that. But for now, it's enough to understand that we are creating a new object of the type audio class, and we are supplying it with the information for creating the audio file. Okay, the audio object. Now using this audio object, we'll be able to play back the sound. Okay, by using the play function on the audio object, which we will do in future. But these few lines of code are just having an array having another array of all the objects which we can use in future. So that is the functionality. So friends, here we have three constants. We are saying document get elements by class name. See, remember when we said that elements of an HTML file can be accessed, we told you that it can be accessed either by ID or by class. But the same class can be available on multiple HTML elements. So when you say get elements by class name, you get multiple elements that might have dice im class. Okay. So if you remember dice im class, it is nothing but the image which has width and height 300 pixels and some margin, right? So when you do that, when you call this function, you get an array. And here we are subscripting by 0 and saying we just want the first element. That's our image. Okay. And the text for the runs, we have given it an ID of run ID. So if you look at here, the ID is rn ID. Okay. So we are saying get element by ID rn ID and put it into run text1, which is our which will be changed to showcase how many runs the dice has shown. Okay. Similarly, we are setting get element ID button1. This button1 is nothing but this roll button, right? So we have this button whom we have given an ID of button1. So this is a roll button which will be clicking to generate the runs. Okay. So we are here. What we are doing is we are sort of using a document object model DOM to get all these elements and keep them available so that we can change their properties by calling function on them. Okay. So let's do that. So friends, we have added the functionality. We have a function called get random dice, which just mat.floor mat.random into 6 plus 1 and return random. You've seen this code before. It just generates a random number between 1 to 6. Okay. And we are saying button1, which is your role button, dot add event listener on click. Call the button1 callback. Okay. Button1 callback is this function which will be called every time you click the button. Note that we have given an input also, which is nothing but the event information that this function will receive when the button is called. We will use it shortly and we'll show you why we need to use it. But right now you can understand this part of the code wherein we are getting a random number, get random number dice, and the corresponding image we have taken it from the web and we have made d1, d2, d3, d4, d5, d6. That is the images of the dice, and we are saying dot images / d plus rn. Okay. Rn goes from 1 to 6, so correspondingly we have 1 to 6 .png. So that is the name of the image. Okay. And image1, as you know that we have got the image class here. So image class dice im class and source is dot images d1.png. We're going to change its source based on what random number you generated. Okay, based on what random number you generated, you are getting the path of the image, and we are saying image1 set attribute. Set attribute means, see, this HTML element has an attribute called source, which is pointing to the image, right? So this source attribute can be changed using JavaScript, and we are saying that set the source attribute to this particular image. That image is referring to the image which is based on the random number generated by rolling the dice. So this is what is happening in these 3 lines of code. Also, we have a text here which is saying 1 runs, 2 runs, 3 runs, so on and so forth. So if rn, random number, is less than equal to 3, we are making the message is equal to that number plus space plus runs exclamation. Okay. If it is a 4, we are saying message is 4. If it's a 6, we are saying 6, right? Otherwise, if it is neither of these, it will be a 5, and we are saying message no runs. Okay. And we are saying the text, which is this text, the h1 text, which has an rn ID, right, which we have obtained by asking the document get element by ID, we are going to change its inner HTML to that message. Inner HTML to that message means when we change the inner HTML, the text of that particular HTML element, currently it is 1 runs, but the text will change according to the text that you feed it in. Okay, so that is what is happening here. And also we already have these G audio objects which we have created, right? We have 6 audio objects. One will play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Whatever random number we get, it goes from 1 to 6. So we need it to go from 0 to 5 because this is an array, and array always indexes with starting with 0. So we are doing rn -1 and play. Okay, the play function is available on this object, which will play back the sound which you have loaded here. The MP3 sound that has loaded here will be played back by the play function. Okay, so this is the functionality. And when we save this, okay, and when we go back to our website and when we refresh it, and when you roll the dice,
4,
you can see the action happening.
5, 6, 4, 6, 2.
Okay, so but there is a problem. If I click this button very often, see what happens.
2, 1, 6, 3, 4.
Right? So, all the sounds sort of overlap on each other and things get confused. So what we want to do is when we click this button, we immediately want to disable it till the number is shown and the sound plays and the sound is complete. For example, if I press
3,
roll, after it says 3, only then I want to enable this button again. Okay, so let's add code for doing that. So friends, we have added these 2 lines at the start of this callback. So the event callback will get an event parameter e, and we are saying e.target.disabled is equal to true. What we are saying is whoever is getting this event, that is the click, the button, the target will be the button itself. We are saying disabled equal to true means it will get disabled. So you'll not be able to click on the button. Okay. And we are telling the set timeout. Set timeout is a function provided by JavaScript, which calls another function. You can see the highlighted part of the code here. Okay. So I'm highlighting a part of code with my mouse cursor. It will call this function after 3000 milliseconds or 3 seconds. So why we are doing it is, as soon as the button is clicked, disable it so that no more clicks are enabled. And because of the button click, this code will be executed and the audio will play back. Okay. Now all the audios, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, is of maximum length 3 seconds. So after 3 seconds, you can re-enable the button so that user can click it and roll the dice again. So that is what we are trying to say here. So what we are saying is set timeout, call a particular function after 3 seconds. And what is the function that will do? It will say whatever you have disabled, it will target disabled is equal to false, which means it will enable again. So using this sort of disabling and enabling, we are preventing user from clicking the button so often that all the sounds get overlapped on one another. Okay, so if I save this, if I go back to our website and if I refresh it, now as soon as I click it, you can see it gets disabled. Okay, so I cannot keep on clicking it and making all the sounds overlap on one another. We can click it slowly, right? After the sound plays, it will get re-enabled.
6.
Okay, it was a 4, now a 6.
2
runs, okay, and so on and so forth. So that's it, friends. We have shown some basic document object model programming and changing of images, changing of text, playing back of sound using this simple sample. Thanks.